Hello, it's been quite a while since I've done one of these, hasn't it? Today is the 3rd of July of 2024. Has been a few months. I think I did a few of these in April, and I sort of just didn't for a while. I just sort of stopped. But my graphical diary research, I've just sort of not really added to it, so I am going to need to refresh myself a little bit, I suppose, before working on it further. But what I was thinking was, what I could do is I could um, sort of take a bit of a detour right now away from games and then try to. Oh, my voice went really weird then. And try to. What was it? Try to see if I can do some other things I can remember. So I'm thinking, what I was thinking today was, I was thinking I would accumulate a bunch of stuff from school, like lessons and different like things from school. Right. A few things I've noticed though is that here it is. There, I misspelled Knuckles. So Knuckles in Sonic 2. I mean, Knuckles in Sonic 2 is going to be the same as Sonic and Knuckles, isn't it? Same with Blue Sphere and Sonic 3 Knuckles. And also, I am missing a thing on here. Game Boy. Because I did get my Game Boy in the 90s. Yeah, Game Boy, GBA, PC. That's fine. So, I mean, the problem is that if I just like sit and stare at this, then I might just not get anywhere. Um, I'll just go like round in circles. But these are the things that I've managed to like pin down most effectively. So the thing is, though, is that what I'm going to have to do is get a lot of these things and um like pack them together. See, I'm doing like it's all coming back to me now. I remember like I would do this. I would see something and I'd really like struggle, like thinking to myself like, oh, well that's like why. Like I look at something and I'm thinking, oh, can't I narrow that down a bit more? And I don't really know. Cause I was looking at Robot Wars here and I was thinking, okay, so Robot Wars, it was after the Tony Hawk 3 release date that I got it, obviously. Um, but I did see. Hold on. So my yeah, I can't narrow that down any further. I'm looking at it. I'm like, no, no, pointless. Anyway, let's just. God, I mean, there's lots of stuff that I need to like put together, and the whole point of this is that the more I do, the easier it's going to be able to stick these things together. Um, and so hold on. I mean, I could just work on these, couldn't I? Work on some more release dates. Should I do that? Should I work on my release dates or should I leave it for now? Let's leave. Tell you what, let's make another sheet and put it at the bottom here, and let's make a to work on list. So this is like a future reminders. So, and this is going to be a simple thing. So sheet. So in the master sheet, action Okay, let's make that bold. So in sheet master, action, look up release dates of PS2 games. Because, I mean, look at these. Like, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, I mean, surely I should be able to narrow these down a bit more. XXX means that I've checked it and it's afterwards. Afterwards? Or before, rather. Before the day of the... No, it has to be the day of the photo. Hold on, it has to be before the day of the photo. It has to. No, but the photo... No, the Jan... Okay, alright, I'm still... Yeah, you can tell it's been a while. Right, so... The Jan 2008 video is... So these are things that do not appear in that video, I'm imagining. Yeah, so that's this one where I just do all that, yeah. So I'm checking what's the earliest. Right, yeah, okay. I can get my head around that. I don't know why the Sky 2 release got after Sky 1. Ah, okay. That makes sense. See, Dragon Quest 8, I was playing that. I remember I was playing that when New Maps of Hell by Bad Religion came out. So hold on, what day is this? Before I got to Sky 2, no, because I was thinking about the cap in Sky 2 versus HP cap in DQ8 when discover level cap in Sky 2. Well, I actually should say I should change that date to a little bit earlier. I believe it's the 10th of... hold on. Oh, man, see, I'm doing it now. Okay. New Maps of Hell by Bad Religion came out 10th of July 2007. I remember that day. I remember it. I remember I was listening to... I remember playing it being after You Just Get Jessica, and I was listening to Honest Goodbye over and over again because I just managed to so let's change this note to a little bit earlier, July 10, and no, right, okay. Before release date of Bad Religion's album New Maps of Hell, was listening to Honest Goodbye before release date and playing the Q8. Just got Jessica to join party. I definitely remember that. Right, so to work on the master lookup release date of for rest of PS2 games. Okay. So let's what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a separate sheet here. I'm just going to call it school. So these I'm gonna detail, and this is going to eventually have to all be like conglomerated. I don't know what the word is. Like put together into a like a whole like a single cohesive thing potentially. But I'm going to reference. Hold on now. In my main graphical diary, I have right. Oh, hold on. I noticed an error there. So I'm just going to copy this from my main graphical diary. Now, of course, oh, hold on. Why is... Okay, right. So basically, those are the years, like starting year, ending year. So it starts of September of that year and it ends in July of the next year. There's the class number. Look, this is the year that I'm in, and this is the class number that I'm in. So the main thing to point out is that this this and this year was the years that my class, it was the upper half of my year mixing with the year above. And I do very much specifically remember that. Because I had a friend who was in the year above. So I'm going to spread this out a little bit. So I'm going to try to... Hold on. So that's the year. School year and class. Right, I'm going to make another subject here because the thing is, like, once you get to secondary school, year 7, that's when the subjects you start getting divided into different subjects. I'm going to have a drink. That's when you get divided into different subjects. And sometimes some of these can get a bit vague. So, say this class 5 here and class 5 there, I might get confused as to which one's which, because I just remember them as being class 5. But it will depend on if I can remember it in relation to being mixed with the year above. So, say for example, the first year in class 5 was mixed with the year above, but the second one wasn't. So if I can have a memory that matches the that memory, then I'm going to be able to say, like, okay, who was in the class at that time. And so these are the main classes: so 7NY, 8NY, 9NY, 10MC, 11MC, 12LB, and 13 something F. I don't know what the something is because the way that the lettering system worked for the sixth form, it was your form tutor's initials, which I do not know. I don't remember what year 13 was. I remember the teacher. I remember Mrs. Frost, or Frau Frost, as I remember. She was my German teacher for 3 years. But I'm going to try to make notes, and I need to also. So I need a memory that happened inside school. So it'd be like a lesson. There's going to be things like things about the school at the time and things about me at the time, I suppose. So I can So let's. I mean, I could add nursery in here, but I don't particularly want to because I don't really remember much. I remember very vaguely playing with stencils and a doll's house, and that's pretty much it, really. But I do remember a little bit more of these following lessons. Right. So I'm gonna have to make. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this down, and so I'm gonna try and stick a bunch of memories here, and they're gonna be a bit mixed up. So thinking about the start of reception, this was. Hold on. Right. 1993 to 1994. So if I. Okay. I was just thinking out loud, although not really thinking out loud, just sort of thinking and making noises at the same time. So what lessons do I remember? I tell you what, though, I do have. I'm going to go and fetch them. I have managed to capture. I managed to find. Because it's going to take some scouring online for these things. I'm just looking off screen with the monitor here. So I have a nostalgia downloaded images folder, and here I have just saved a bunch of stuff, just a bunch of images that are like, that's a thing that I kind of remember from that time. Like, hold on, I'll take a screenshot here. So, I mean, this isn't the right one, but as you can see there, bunch of VHSs of Rainbow and Count Duckula that I had. But this doesn't seem to. Hold on. No, this doesn't. This doesn't have what I was looking for. I mean, have I not saved them in the right place here? Have I saved them? You know what? I might have done. Hold on. I might have, because I know I did start that, but open link in new tab. Okay. I'm just going to trawl through my downloads here, which is a bad place to store things. But I do feel like this is where they might be. Man, the downloads folder is the worst place to store things. It does. It's like you do need to sort things out. No, it's not here. Alright, I'm just looking. So, do I have... Man, this is really annoying because I have... I did have... I mean, it really should have been in that particular place, but I didn't put it there. I do have a folder where I've saved images of like books and stuff from school. But this is just me sort of looking around, see if I can find anything. So I've got my main images folder. And I'm kind of... It won't be in MISC, will it? No. No, it's not there. Right, sorry about this. This is just going to take some time for me to... Right, so I have a file called Nostalgia, brackets, downloaded images. And I've got it divided up into different batches of 5 years. But they're not there, although I do... Right, let's have a look on my hard drive. It takes a moment to load because it's 14 terabytes and it's an actual physical hard drive with moving parts. I feel like I've done nothing. I've done it 20 minutes and I've done nothing. Man, I'm really annoyed about this. No, that's just the same. That's annoying. That's very annoying. Right. And what I'm going to do is key stage 1, 90s maths text books. I managed to find quite a few as well. But it's, I mean, this is, I don't know, it feels like I'm a bit of a, let's do, hold on, let's bring it over here. Key stage 1, 90s maths textbooks. Key stage 1, but like this is like all older stuff, like newer stuff. So for example, this one here, that's something that you'd find in like W.H. Smith's. Right, hold on. 90s maths textbooks UK. Roller coaster. Yeah, that's... Man, tell you what, 1 second. I'm going to pause the recording for a bit. Okay, oh, hold on. Right, 1 second. Right, okay, so basically, I got a bit defeatist and I was like, oh, this is going so badly, and then I just gave up looking for them. But then I went to and I changed my search slightly to 90s maths textbooks UK, and here we have here. See this image here. Look. Let's make that a bit bigger. Heinemann maths books. Look, this is the ones that we had. Oh, is that the back? Look, this one here. This is the one that we did. This is our textbooks. I can't remember if these were the... Oh yeah, I think these are the ones that you actually had to write it because you had to put like... It looks as though you got your name. But yeah, I definitely remember. So this is like the first one. So you had like... Ooh, like the number 1 there. And then on the number... Is the number 2 on here? I mean, there's a 2 up there in the corner. But anyway, that's good to... oh, hold on, what's this? I don't remember this. That's also... The penguins there's meant to be a 1. Look, see, there's a 4. I kind of remember that one. There's another 1. Oh, look. What is it? I don't know how this is maths. Colour the beads. You know what I'm going to do? Right, okay. I don't think it's going to be there, but let's double check. Let's go to the Internet Archive and see if we can find anything. Come on. Can't be reached. Is it down? Right. I don't know why it did that. Hold on. Yeah, I accidentally went to my search history, then it loaded it up on here, and I'm like, oh. Oh, okay. Right. So, right, I doubt this is going to net any results, but let's search. Did it just do it then? One second. Right. I mean, none of these match. None of these seem to match the ones that I saw. Man, this is taking a completely different turn than what I was expecting. Right, one moment. Heinemann Maths UK. I don't know what like more. Oh, I suppose I could just do Heinemann Maths 1. But no. Hold on. I'm going back, look on Amazon. Maths workbooks. Workbooks. Let's do Heinemann Maths workbooks. Nothing there. It's between work and books. No. So I'm taking it back a bit, but it's not sure. There's nothing, none of those. Nah, it was a bit of a long shot. But I'm gonna make a note. Right. So let's do Look, let's just search. No, let's just fill out some details. Right, let's just say Heinemann Maths workbooks. Right. So that's one. Just it's taken half an hour to get to this point, but okay. I also remember. I'll move you down a little bit. So there was red, blue, and green group. So we were divided into 3 groups, and I was in red group, which, by the way, was the smartest group of the 3. I didn't stay in the smartest group the whole time. Not when I went to year 2. I moved into yellow group, which at that point was the middle one. But we had writing books. What do you call them? Exercise books. Exercise books? Hold on, the name is escaping me. Name of school book that you write in. I don't know what you call them. Yeah, so you know, like exercise book. Is that what you call them? I guess so. So hold on. It's like something like this. So we had a big. It was sort of like a pinky colour. It was weird. It was like I'll say peach. Actually no, I'll just do A4. I believe it was A4. A4 exercise books. Peachy exercise books. I don't know if I'm spelling exercise there right. And these exercise books, they had name in giant letters. Number 1 in top right corner. I think that was the case. Now I remember. Hold on. Let's move you down. Right now I remember the name. So we had the big books and the giant letters. The number 1 was in the top right corner. I'll put in brackets. Hold on. Name in giant letters. Number in top right corner, and I put in brackets. Didn't realise it was a number 1 until I got my second one. I mean, top quality. Yeah, they had like a line in the corner. I was thinking, oh, it's just got a random line, and then I got the second one. It had like a 2, and I was like, oh, it's a number 2. The first one was a number 1 then, because I think I was the first one to get my second book for some reason. So what we did was they were divided into 2 halves. I'll load up Paint. 1 second. Okay, so what happened was, let's zoom out a little bit. And it's almost an A4 sheet there. So the way that it worked is we had it was divided into 2 halves. So it was like a line through the middle. And this is what we did. And then it was divided into 2 halves. And so you took at the first you told the teacher what it was that you wanted to write about. So you had to like write about something that was going on in your day, just a regular like life activity. So you might say, "Oh, I went to the shops." So then the teacher would write out here, in her pen, I think it was. We'll do Calibri, fine. A nice little sans serif font. Right. So you go you'd say, what's the story that you want to write about? Or what do you want to say? And you'd say, I want to say that I went to the shop. So you'd say, I went to the shop. And she was like, okay. And then she'd write out, I went to the shops. And she'd write it out. Okay, now our job was to write that down ourselves underneath and draw a picture. So for example, this is what we would do is zoom in. It's like we'd sit down and we spend some time. It's like, right, I need to talk about going to the shop. So then I would write, and it's quite fitting that I'm using a paint here because it represents like how messy it is, and we'd write, I went to the shops, right? And you put your full stop, and then you get like, and then in the top half, you'd have to draw a picture to indicate the thing. I mean, this isn't really graphical diary research, is it, that I'm doing here? I mean, it is a bit, because I was looking up the name of that thing, that book, but okay. And in the top, you'd you draw a picture. So I would say, this is like, you know, like this will be my mum or something, and obviously you do the hair like that, and you'd have like a shopping trolley, right? However, and then there would be me, right? And we'd say like, oh, this is a picture of me going to the shops. And then you'd hand that in, you go over to the teacher and she'd look at it and she'd say like, right, the picture is you at the shops. Here was you write out the sentence, I went to the shops. And you give it a tick. And that was how you knew you did a good job. So yeah, simple times. But I mean, I was very young at the time. I was like 4 years old. Right, so that was what we did there. Now, another thing I remember was that when there was one man, I don't remember a few. Man, okay, I'm trying to remember a few things here at once here. Do I remember much of like subjects or anything? I mean, that's my main memory. I mean, I know we did like obviously like maths and all that, but I'll tell you what else I remember. So, there's two more things in particular that I remember about this class. Well, I'll say three things. So, I'm going to make notes of them here. So, one of them was chocolate and apples. Another one was the witch's house. And another one was Christmas cards. these are my three main memories of this class. Two more that come to mind. So the story behind the chocolates and apples was that there was one time when we had an activity that we had to do where we were given the choice to pick out either a piece of chocolate or a piece of an apple. And what happened was, and this is really bad content, isn't it? What happened was, I had no interest in having the apples at all, and then the teacher would say like, right, everyone, go and get a chocolate or an apple. It was just like a little bit of apple or like a little bit of chocolate, and then depending on what you got, she put like a tick or a cross next to your name. And so if people went to get chocolates and apples, and the people who got apples always got ticks, and then the people who got chocolates always got crosses. But I didn't. In my head, it was like I didn't understand. I was like, I didn't understand why I was getting crosses all the time. It's like, okay, I go over, I get my chocolate, like, okay, and then I get a cross. Like, why am I getting crosses? But I think I was the only one to get a cross every single time. And it was like, oh, you better brush your teeth when you get home. That was the message. So, I suppose this is like an event, isn't it? So. Right. So say chocolate apples. Right. So let's move these down a bit. And so one time we had to pick out chocolate. Hold on. Pick out. Choose a piece of chocolate or a piece of apple, and we got a tick if we chose an apple, and a cross if we got a chocolate. And I got all crosses. Teacher said I had to brush my teeth when I got home. And another thing that I remember is shortly after, in our exercise books, we had to like write things out. I did a thing of what was it? I actually wrote out that like the sentence. I think the sentence I requested or something was, I do not like apples. In my exercise book, as part of the, because we had to write out a sentence about like a food we like and a food that we don't like, and I put in I don't like apples, and as a way of saying like, look, there's a reason I didn't pick the apples. Right. So that was that. The witch's house. I don't really have any good means of like ordering these. Let's out a bit more. So the witch's house. So there was a house that you could see over in the distance, and some of the girls in the class made a story about like, oh, that's the house where the witch lives, and they were talking about it like as if it was dead real. And I was there being critical, thinking like, what do you mean? How can you like? How do you know? Have you met them? And so it was just like a house you could see like from the classroom window. So I just put some of the girls in the class said a house they could see in the distance was a witch's house, I was skeptical. Skeptical spelt with a K? I don't know. I think so. I was skeptical. And the last thing I remember about this time specifically in this class is the Christmas cards, where I got everybody in the class a Christmas card because they gave a Christmas card. And the idea was you meant to get some for your friends, but I got a card for everybody, a Christmas card, and they were, as I eventually found out, the brand is called Forever Friends. So, I didn't actually know this at the time, but it was like these teddy bears. Forever Friends, it was like the teddy bears. It's one of those things where it's like you've probably seen it, but you don't know what they're called until someone mentions it and they bring it up and then you see it and you're like, oh yeah, those things. So like this is an example of a Forever Friends Christmas card. Of course, it wouldn't have been this one because, I mean, this was, for one, this was years and years ago, but also I would not get a card saying, wishing a wonderful son the merriest Christmas to my classmates when I was 4 years old. Would I have been 4 years old? Oh, no, would I have been 5? I just turned 5, I think. Right. Now, year 1 and year 2, these were both in class 2, so let's this down, and this is where I'm going to have to do some research. So there was this was the first year of class 2 was when I was mixed with year above. I don't do this under the subject header. Shouldn't really be there, but fine. Mixed with year above. As opposed to year 2, and then some of these can sort of like, I'm unsure if it's year 1 or 2, but for this one, we were divided into 3 groups. So we had red, yellow and blue groups. Blue group, and this time I was in yellow. Why can't I spell was without an E? Let's capitalise group because it is a name. I was in yellow, the middle group, and so the way this worked this time was there was 3 main subjects, as it were, that we rotated between. And they were named literacy, numeracy, and areas, as it was. So areas meant the what was it? Areas was like craft, like artsy, crafty stuff, like woodwork and all that. Literacy and numeracy, obviously, just words and numbers and stuff. So, but one book I remember we did So I'm going to have to look this up, but this is what I remember. The Lighthouse Keepers. Aha! Autofill. Right. Yes, here we go. The Lighthouse Keeper's lunch. So, I don't know which of these cover. I mean, are they? I mean, they're very similar. But it was one of these covers, The Lighthouse Keeper's Lunch, and it was this story about a lighthouse keeper. Yeah. So this may be. Here we are. So a lighthouse keeper. Like his wife kept sending like a basket of sandwiches to the lighthouse keeper, and as you say, once there was a lighthouse keeper called Mr. Grinling. At night time, he lived in a small white cottage. Yeah. Well, that doesn't give the full story, but basically the idea is like she makes sandwiches and then she moves it down here to give it to the lighthouse keeper, and then the idea is he eats them and then he sends the basket back. But the problem was that the seagulls kept coming and eating the sandwiches, and they solved it by making some really horrible sandwiches filled with Marmite or something, I don't know. Let's actually... The Lighthouse Keeper's Lunch. No, that's not on the Internet Archive. I mean, there's a YouTube video. But anyway. By Rhonda Armitage. So let's have a subsection for books, because I do remember a couple. There's 2 books I remember. There's 3 books I remember from this year, and 2 of them are very popular. So, The Lighthouse Keeper's Lunch. And I've put in brackets Rhonda Armitage. And the other 2, which I don't know the author, but Rhonda and David Armitage. Oh, hold on. Am I not getting the full? Ah, Rhonda and David Armitage. Okay. She's taking all the credit. Rhonda. What about David? Anyway, so the 2 other ones I remember, which are very, very well known, are how do you spell caterpillar? I think it's that. And the rainbow fish. The rainbow fish, if I could remember, the rainbow fish, the story was that like all the other fish were jealous that they didn't shine, so the rainbow fish give them all like a scale each, so they all could shine a bit. Oh, ah, right. That's brought back another memory. That's brought back another memory. Right, and this was definitely in. Hold on, I do need to move this down. Because one thing I do remember, and I'm going to have to come back to the group setup. So one thing I do remember was we made our own Mr. Men book. and I made Mr. Claps. Right. So let's do a new thingy here. Right. So we had to do our own Mr. Men book, and I did Mr. Claps, right? And I can tell you the story of Mr. Claps. Right? So we had to do our own book cover. So I remember Mr. Claps was like skin coloured for some reason, like regular skin colour. Now this is going to be difficult. I mean, it's difficult anyway, on using a mouse, but I suppose it kind of reflects the difficulty of making these things as a kid. So this is Mr. Claps, and there's his smiley face. I think he had a hat on. Maybe he didn't. But I'm going to give him a hat, as a lot of the Mr. Men had hats. And and he had two arms that went around, and he was clapping his hands above his head because it was easy to draw that. And he was sort of like a, not quite pink, sort of like, kind of like a peachy colour, like a skin tone for white people, I guess, in a way. Anyway, there's Mr. Claps. Just makes him look naked, if I'm honest. Right. So there is. There's my drawing of Mr. Claps. 1 second. Okay, and here's the story of Mr. Claps, right? And there was me just clapping there. So Mr. Claps was he really enjoyed clapping. So it was like, oh, he clapped in the morning, he clapped in the night, he clapped all day, and he was walking round and he was like clapping all the time, and the neighbours and everyone was like, hey, stop clapping, you're really annoying, just, I don't like to hear you clapping all the time. And he kept clapping, and then he goes to the park, which in my mind was a park like near here, and he's there like just like in the park. He's like clapping. He's miserable because everyone's annoyed about him clapping, and he's just clapping. He's just clapping, and then a hedgehog comes up. Now, don't ask me why it was a hedgehog. I can guarantee it's because this is when I was into Sonic. But a hedgehog comes up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Claps, why are you so sad?" And Mr. Claps is saying, like, "No one likes my clapping. I make a loud noise, and no one likes it." And then the hedgehog is like, "I'll give you my fur, so that way you can use them as gloves, and so you can still clap, but with gloves, so you're not making a noise." So the hedgehog gives Mr. Claps his fur, and then Mr. Claps goes about his day clapping away to his heart's content, and everyone else is happy because he's not making any noise. What a nice story that was. What a lovely story. I mean, it might take some work to try and recreate that. I might actually do that at some point. But that was the story of Mr. Claps. I remember my friend Matthew. He made because he was very smart. He made Mrs. Splendid. So I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna write here Mr. Claps. Had to make Mr. Men book, and I'm just going to write here Mr. Claps annoyed people with his noisy claps. Until a hedgehog offered their fur, I mean they're not notoriously furry creatures, are they, hedgehogs, to make him gloves. I'm just going to put Matthew made Mrs. Splendid. Right. Now, what's important to recognise here is that these memories these memories like line up with me being in class 2 with all of these older kids that were in the year above. So Matthew was in the year above. But the thing is I don't really have many memories around this time without him there. I think I do. I think we had 2 new kids starting, like maybe in the year after, when it was just our year. Yeah. But I don't know. Anyway, Matthew made Mrs. Splendid. And I also have a memory about there was one time we had to we were doing work on sycamores, and I don't know if I've spelled that right. And then so I'll write we had to make our own sycamores out of crafts. I'll just put out of crafts. We competed to see whose could go the furthest when thrown, and Matthew did indeed win that. I want to talk about, there's 2 more particular memories that I have. Around this time. I'm going to have to end this soon. So, I suppose I should get to the more, like, generic stuff. So, the way that the way that the class was set up was that we all had to do our own subject, our own time. So there was so the subjects were literacy, numeracy, and areas. I've got craft stuff. Literacy, numeracy, areas, which was craft stuff, and I and so okay, so there was a chart to show where each group started, then moved to, and then moved, I think, and then I'm going to put in, I think it was clockwise. Throughout the day. So the way that it worked was we started, and then we had some time on the floor where the teacher would like read a book or something, or like talk to the class as a whole. Then we go for assembly, and then we'd have playtime. Then we come back and do our first thing. Then we go for lunch, and we come back and do our second thing. Then playtime, then third thing. So I'm gonna make a. Oh, the towel behind me is gone. I know this doesn't really count as a graphical diary research, but you know, it's gonna. I mean, it is. Hold on, you know what? Right? Hold on. Let's search. Can you research? I'm just your memories. I'm just going to see what comes up here. Oh, how memory can be manipulated. Oh yeah, of course. I know about all that. Yeah, it's all about how reliable memories are. Let's just hold on. I want to end this soon, but I want to get this bit done before I move on. The systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So, is memory a source to be studied? I'm really getting rather, I suppose, esoteric would be the word here. Memory studies is an academic field studying the use of memory as a tool for remembering the past. It emerges a new, different way to think about past. Yeah. Okay, that's studying about memory. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if like this qualifies as research, as it were, where I'm not really doing much of it, but it all comes together. So I am going to have to really. So here I am just making notes right now. Oh, hold on. That's a good. Is note taking research? Is taking notes a form of studying? Taking notes is the unsung hero of study techniques. Oh, it's a form of studying, I suppose. Is studying a form of research? I'm. Some authors say research when they mean study. Research as a verb, to perform a study or studies. But research as a noun refers to the sum of many studies. Alright then. So what was I doing? So, I'm going to try and recreate the thing here. So we have. This is kind of how it looked. We have I think it's probably written out properly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I think this is how it was. Literacy, numeracy. There's no B in numeracy, is there? and areas. And each of these were actually, you know what? I think numeracy might have been. Yeah, because later on we changed it so that you had like literacy, first, and then numeracy second. I don't know the order. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I do remember it was something like. Well, like they had like these colours, so you'd do this and that was like yellow. Again, I cannot tell you for the life of me if this is the right, if these are the right colours, if this is the right layout, because ultimately it does not matter. And we'll make it, hold on. We'll centre. Where am I? Yeah, it looks something like this. So I'm just going to take screenshot there, and 1 second. Okay, I just saved that as an image. Let's get rid of this now. So numeracy. Here's some very vague memory I do have. So numeracy, I remember learning about tens and units. I mean, the thing is, I could do maths like way above my age range, but I'm going to just say tens and units. There's a particular, it was like a new way of like adding. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's interesting. So I was thinking, what's that noise? It turns out it's raining, but it doesn't actually look like raining. 1 second. Interesting. Right, God, I am going to end this soon. I just want to get through year 2 or year 1 even, class 2. Learning tens and I learned about tens and learning about tens in units. Was first in class to do so. Other than with there's a guy called Michael L. Let's put a Michael L there. We had cards in pockets on wall with maths questions on them, and they're all themed. Themed like addition, subtraction, all that, etc. I remember there was some of them where it was like, oh, 3 plus question mark equals 5, and it was like, oh, 3 plus blank equals 5. Oh, That's a 2. And I do remember in... You know, it's going to annoy me if these things are inconsistent. Right, let's just... numeracy. Areas. So literacy. Do I remember much about literacy? I remember there's one time we did like... There was one time where we were looking like words with sound but written with I'm going to say Matthew G said blood, and it was considered like, oh wow, that's such an amazing example. Oh, I can't believe it. And in the areas, now the one thing I do remember about the areas, although I think this might have been year 2, I tell you what, I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to go areas. No, hold on. Areas, and then in brackets year 2 question mark. Made jigsaw of Hickory Dickory Dock with sort of like, it's not quite, it's like kind of wood but not quite wood, sort of like, I don't know. It might have been. Hold on, it might have been plywood. You see, this is research now. This is research. Let's see. Plywood. Plywood sheet. I think it was. So if you look at this, that. Yeah, I think it was like that. Using a coping saw. Three more things I want to make a note of here, but see, my memories are starting to form a bit more strongly here. So we had our own tray. So let's put trays. We each had a tray with our name and a picture on. And mine, my picture, that's the one I was given, was a star. Because we all had like, I think like one person had a tree and then one person had a dog or something. And I had a star. So what else? Yeah, let's move this down a bit. Right. So clean up. So at the end of the day, we had to go around and pick up rubbish from the floor. And I always picked up the shiny bits. I don't know why it was like if there was a shiny bit, I'd pick it up. I'd pick up the shiny bits. There was another thing I was going to mention. I don't know. Let's move this. Let's move this down. I'm going to make a note here. Let's put it in brackets. Sonic obsession began. Hold on. I can relate this to. So this was. So this would be when the Christmas of that year would be when I got Sonic, because that would be when I got the Mega Drive 1994. So this is then the Sonic obsession began. Okay. So I'm going to hold on. I do remember the Christmas play that we did. I don't know if there's any like good order to this, because it's not really like in that much order. So, Christmas play. Now it was a song. We got to stand up, holding letters. So, C is for the. Aha. It didn't take that long. The Christmas alphabet. This is it. Right. C is for the candy trimmed around the Christmas tree. H is for the happiness of all the family. Yeah, this was the song, but here's the thing. I was always confused. I was thinking, what does Trimden mean? Like, I didn't understand. I was thinking, I don't get, like, what is candy trimmed in? There's the candy trimmed around the Christmas tree. So I thought it was candy trimmed in round the Christmas tree. And so I didn't know that. I shall save that image 1 second. Right, yeah. So that is the song. So what's it called? The Christmas alphabet. Cliff Richard. So Christmas play. Sang. Christmas alphabet. Hold on, let's move these down. Oh, hold on. You need to go down there. Right. Alphabet. We held up letters and stood on bench. You know, the one all British primary schools had. When letter was sung and others acted out scene in front, and my job was to hold up the M. Right. So I put select construction began here because I don't know why there's a comma there. But yeah, I've recreated a few. I've saved a few images. I've done a little. I suppose this does count as research, but I'm going to end this here. It's been a nice little break from the usual. I mean, I haven't done this for months now. It's been a long time. I think it was like April or so since I last did one of these. So it has been a few months. But I've taken a break from trying to figure out like when games all came out and just sort of like compiled a little bit of data, and I've created and saved a few images. So I do have there's going to be more things that come back to me, and as they do, I'm going to make a note of them and I'll write them down somewhere, and then when I come back to this, if and when I do, I'll know to put them in the corresponding place. Oh, I should also mention just a random little thing that I remember. There was a train on the wall. Oh, well, what do you call them? Not a carriage. Now, if my Thomas the Tank Engine knowledge, I think they're called trucks. Hold on. Train. Trucks. They're not for holding. What do you call them? Like a freight train. Like they're not carrying passengers. They're carrying just stuff. Just transporting goods around like coal or whatever. that's Thomas the Tank Engine carrying coal. I've put train on wall made of paper with, and I'll just call them trucks, representing each month, and our faces were in the truck of our birthday. Our faces as in not a photograph, I'll just put like circle paper with stuff stuck to it to make a face. So this, I suppose this is a separate thing for like the layout, I suppose, for the room. Another thing I remember was there's shapes hanging from the ceiling. Like they were labelled, and I think that's what determined my colour connection with shapes. I was thinking like, oh, triangles are green and squares are red and circles are blue, and pentagons are like a turquoise and hexagons are black and heptagons are silver and octagons are brown. It's just that's what enabled it. I'll put in brackets again. I'm putting square brackets. Enabled my colour associations. But that was also the case with the train on the wall. Right. Okay. So I am going to okay. So I think that's a decent amount of stuff for here. Not exactly research like in the traditional sense, I suppose, but it kind of works. Heinemann Maths Workbook. I mean, the thing is, that isn't just class 1, is it? Put that there. Right. Alright, okay. Well, this is interesting. I can continue on with this at some point. When and how long, who knows. But It's getting late, so I'm going to end this now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. I might just turn the volume up real, big on this one, but we'll see. See ya.